Good morning, evening, good night, dawn, dusk, whatever time it may be that you're watching this. This is the Lambda log, week 10, day 3. Is that the 11th? Oh, yeah, for November. Haha. November the 19th, 2025, Wednesday. Okay, I'm a little behind. I realize that I'm filming this on Monday morning at bright old 5:58 a.m. Um, and I should catch up with a couple, if not today, this week. Um, but yeah, this is kind of our last week week before our skills finals, which start the following week of week 11, and then we have our projects, and then we're done with the first term, a third of the way done with the program. Wild. Um, But yeah, let's just jump right into it. We started off right away with acting through song at 9 a.m. with Johnny Barr, and people began their performances. This was their final song. They drew a name, right? Just a random composer, and then they picked a song from it. So the first person went and did "I've Gotta Run" by from a show called Edges, and it was Pasek and Paul. And some of the notes was just to use the space, perform it. This isn't so much a work session as a performance. Great song. Use the lyrics to serve you. Next, the next girl sang I Found a New Baby from Bullets Over Broadway, which is a jukebox musical. And yeah, um, we were in Collett House. What was it? East Studio, and there's some like pillars in it, and Johnny told us to like use the space and enjoy it and do whatever. And so it's funny because um this actor used the pillar and kind of leaned up against it, but when they started, and so Johnny said the first whole use of the day, they like to be included, which I thought was funny. And then work on finding your voice to work the higher notes and kind of get that fuller voice. Color the works and use those descriptive words. The next person went and sang All I Care About" from Chicago, and I'm constantly reminded about how talented this specific guy is. Just everything he does, I'm like impressed. Um, he had this moment where the character whistles, and he was like, which was so funny, and it was so clever. It works so well with the song too, and it's just so clean and wonderful, brilliant. Then the next person saying "Go Back Home" from the Scottsboro Boys. He had a great haunting tone, just needed to work on some diction at the end. And you can change the meaning of a song each time you perform it, right? So your song when doing an audition or an individual song or a cabaret, whatever it might be, if it's not in the context of a show, it can change its meaning. And also, even like in the context of a show, you can have different ideas and different objectives that kind of recontextualize it for you. Then the next person went and sang "Far from the Home I Know," which I think is from Fiddler on the Roof. I was unsure, but um, Paul said, "I so want to get inside your head," which is fun. And then this actor's made a ton of progress throughout this term, and and had struggled with some pitch and finding that confidence, but she's really kind of getting into the confidence and improving a lot every day. Um, and she's so great at not taking it personally and just going for it, and that's something that I can add to my stuff is just going for it, not taking things personally. Then another actress went and did "Not a Day Goes By" for Merrily, which I think someone sang earlier. Um, but it was great, wonderful, great connection, um, and work. just some uh lyric thing. She said, "Till the day goes by," but it's "till the days go by" at the end. And used an American accent. She's English, and so just an interesting choice I noticed, and it was good. It worked. Then somebody else went and sang "My Funny Valentine," Rodgers and Hart, and a nice little falsetto up the octave at the end, which was fun. And this guy's a trained opera singer, and so he's fantastic, so good. Um, I noticed a little bit of presenting, a little opera kind of acting, and just oh wow, that kind of a thing. Just a little demonstrative, a little indicative, indicating, but yeah, it's good. And another person sang "Corner of the Sky" from Pippin. Um, right before he started, he laid out the lyrics as he just wasn't sure about them, but then took them away. And Johnny was like, "You don't need them." Uh, but then he grabbed some lyrics. And so it was nice to see the work in progress and that this isn't like a performance and it's a safer, low key space and there's no problem if it doesn't go right. Um, but once he did that, he just was able to have fun with it and I'm always so intrigued and proud of this person. Um, Worked individually, and then afterwards Johnny worked individually with those for like a few minutes each. Then we had combat, and honestly, I mean, I have my spoon here, but we didn't learn anything really new. We just kind of drilled stuff, and so we worked more on saber, right, with Joe and Andrew, and I paired up with somebody. And then we did our warm up where you stretch out and you stretch up. You straight legs and you bend to the side, straight legs, bend to the other side, out and up. And then we did these knees. So, like left arm up, left knee, right arm, right knee, switched around those. Um, oh, we did do, oh, let's see if I remember this. This was a little punch warm up. So, the idea was you're here and you block, block, strike, switch, block, block, strike. Is that right? Block, block, strike. Yeah. So you're just keeping those elbows in, right? And block, block, strike. Block, block, strike. Block, block, strike. Block, block, strike. Something like that. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing it right. And then we practice our progressions, right? One, and right with remember saber to always keep the thumb on the outside because that's where you're. Is that right? Trying to think. No. No, keep your knuckle guards out. I'm not putting my thumb down. Stop it. So here, here, yeah. So here, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. And something important, instead of keeping it straight up like this, really angle it like that. So if they slip, it hits into the cross guard and goes, stops there. Um, and then we created some choreography with that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the last one was 7-1-3-4-2-4-6-8. And so we did we added a double to it, so it was seven comes down here. So seven, no, seven is here. Yeah. So 7, 1. So I went 1. So I went attack 1, 7. No, 7, 1, and then 3, 4. So 3, 4. Bam, bam. So bam, 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 kind of a thing. And then on the way back, it was 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, which is 2, bam, 4. So 2, 4. And then I went with 6. And then 8 here. Anyway, the one kind of interesting and difficult thing is to do the double is you want to like pick up your foot and then you strike in 2 places at once. So ba ba before you land and always dragging that heel into the ground. And that was basically all that we did with combat. We just kind of drilled that and ran it. And it was really fun. And it was enjoyable. Then we had historic music. We did a warm up. We did a new tongue twister. Uh, there was a fisherman called Fisher who fished in the Firth of Forth till a fish with a grin pulled the fisherman in. I don't remember his tune. And also, he's going to make a book, so I'm not going to copy it. Ooh, shout out Sandridge. Um, then we did These Times Round, which I don't have it with me. But, oh, something fun is a chromatic note is a note that is not on the scale. Like if you're in whatever scale you may be, a chromatic one is one that's off. And this song had a bunch of those. And it was 3 parts. And we did great, better than he anticipated. Then we worked on Carol of the Bells, and we mostly got it. We practiced a cappella a little bit because we'll be performing that some point last week, week 12. Um, we worked on Hush part by part and then together, and then we did Fine Next for Ladies, all 3 verses. We did so well. We got another song with 10 minutes left in class. Come, ye sons of art. Let me see if I can find that. I don't know if I remember it at all. Here it is. Oh, it's a 4-part. Come, come ye sons. What is it? 3, 4? No, it's yeah, yeah. 3, 4, and the tenors sing like the same note the whole time. Anyway, it wasn't too difficult. But then we had artistic development, and this one was really cool. Um, we had a guest person today, and their name was John. Here, I'm gonna grab my phone. Um, John, and he works. I don't know if it's predominantly at the Globe, but he works a lot at the Globe, and he we started with a name game. Oh, I'm gonna forget it. It was uh, something like that. Um, ah, da, da. Anyway, um, and then you say a person's name, like Zion, and then Zion answers, Oat. I don't know if that's the rhythm, but you establish this rhythm. Um, John said my name. I said oat, and then I say another name, and then that person says oat, and it continues and cycles through. And so if you mess up the rhythm, if you say the wrong thing or anything, then you're out. And we struggled. But once a bunch of people got out, if you could say their name when they were out and be able to like bring them back into it and save them. And so we were able to get to a point where we saved everybody and we got the whole class back in and we triumphed and won. And then we played Villager. Traitor, I think, is what a lot of people call it. We um sorry, I'm just pulling up John's Instagram. I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly, but it is Pfumojena. Fumogena? Fumogena? Maybe. Um, but he's super cool guy. Um, and yeah, and he's working on a play that Chadwick Boseman wrote that they're producing at the Globe. And yeah. Anyway, so that's John. And then so it's just like wolves where we all close our eyes, and then he picked a few wolves, and then the villagers tried to guess who it was, and then we voted and killed someone, or we voted for someone, and if they were wrong, they went out, and we did very poorly. And then we did Sonnet 94. Sonnet 94. And we really focused on articulation. And so overemphasizing. We turned them back in, so let me pull it up. My phone's being weird, guys. Not that it matters. Maybe it's the rain. The storm is breaking my phone. Yeah, well that loads. So we really emphasized, we did the same thing that we did in Kirsty's, where we emphasized all of the um all of the consonants with without like voicing the vowels. The so kind of like that the idea. We went through that. And then we tried to see how far we could get it in one breath. This is the sonnet. They that have power to hurt and will do none, that do not do the thing they most do show, who moving others as themselves are stone, wait, are themselves a stone, unmoved, cold, and temptation slow. They rightly do inherit heaven's graces, and husband nature's riches from expense. They are the lords and owners of their faces, others but stewards of their excellence. The summer's flower is to the summer sweet, though to itself it only live and die. But if that flower with base infection meet, the basest weed outbraves his dignity. For sweetest thing turns sourest by their deeds. Lilies and that fester smell far worse than weeds. Um, yeah, it's like about integrity. Hmm. And my phone is being funky. So yeah, we tried to see how far we could go in one breath, but keeping our our addiction. Then then yeah. Um and so one thing we talked about is pace and tempo, and that we can keep character and articulation regardless of tempo. And a trick from John is that every character needs like a playlist, and like the first song is kind of the vibe, their vibe, and the second is the rhythm of the character. And so if you can get that rhythm, like we sing happy birthday, and we could say happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, doop doop boop 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 doop boop doop boop boop boop. And he riffed on top of it, but ended all the phrases at the same time. And so that's kind of the idea, is that um, you can find you can find a different rhythm in your character. Just because your director says pick up the pace doesn't mean that you lose that character's internal rhythm. You can still just have that difference. Kind of, I don't know if that makes sense, but um, and then he says like learn your lines to to those songs and the rhythm, and it will give you that embodied pulse. And it was interesting. He said, "Sing We Are Family," like we are family, oh, and we all had the same rhythm to it. And then this rhythm becomes our metronome. Our body always remembers, but we need to deposit the memory first so that our bodies can remember it. And um, we also read the monologue while he kept a steady pace, kind of like that metronome to it. And then we did different speeds. And I found myself following a pattern where I was slow at the beginning and fast at the end. So I tried to switch it up and find some internal differences and interest to it. Um, and then he shared something else with us. Um, it was a passage from Decolonizing the Mind, from a perspective like of like literature. And it was a cool experience in which he just said how performing is inherently a political act, because what we're doing is we're putting a mirror up to society, and just by the ma- material we choose, by the casting we make, by the words we say or don't say, everything about performance has an inherent political part to it. Um, and we really need to like ask ourselves questions and focus on that. So, for example, some things I wrote about his little discussion on that was that the biggest control was in the mental universe of the colonized. Control a person's culture is to control their perception of self. Take a look at our handbook, our syllabus again, and check the reading list and about how many, and think about how many of the authors are not white or Eurocentric. Think about how am I engaging with the industry and discrimination. I need to know what I live with and how do I engage with these worlds. Allyship and empathy are not a discourse, but actions, right? We can talk about stuff, and that's great. But if we don't act on the things we've talked about and listen to, it's hollow, it's pointless. And then you have to be doing and willing to question things that haven't been questions. Questions like, why is LAMDA so well revered? Why am I an American in London pursuing classical acting? As that's Shakespeare is considered the peak of it, when there was historic, great historic theater in South Africa and in other countries. You know, um, you have to be. No, yeah, I said that. And then we hold up a mirror for the world, but have we looked in that mirror? and performance is a political act. And my inclination is to do me, you know, to be aware, but not to bring focus and just do my own thing, you know? And I don't think I'm realizing that might not be a luxury that I have, and it's potentially harmful or ignorant to just do it that way. I don't know, some things to think about. He wants us to write down a response of our thoughts. And then we had lunch after historic music, but then we had movement and we focused on sitting and sitting up, sitting down and getting up, especially off the floor. But um, we sat on down on the floor and stand and stood and kind of focused on that. We sat on the edge of a chair and saw if we could move our like tilt our pelvis. Like I can't really show you, but if these are my legs, tilt like one side forward or back and up and over and kind of just focus on how that moves and not being it in the spine or that, but all from the pelvis. And how can I like think of it as a bowl and tipping the water out on either side? And how do you isolate the pelvis that way? Which is cool. And then we focused on how to get to the ground without using an elevator, right? Without your pelvis dropping at any point, but like circling, circling. Um, so one of the things that we did, I'll show you this one. Can you see the ground there? My raincoat. So on the ground. So one, we put our legs in this lovely position again, and then dropped our hand back, and then da da da. And then we tried to reverse it, which I found more difficult, but just kind of trying things out differently. Um, Also like getting to a tabletop, and then we tried like putting our legs through, and then kind of we just did a lot of body movement and focused and isolation on that. And our whole class seems to be like how small can you break things down and really isolate things and think about that. Um, yeah, that was basically her class. And then we moved to voice and text, and we had our dress rehearsal for our prologues, which will be next week on Wednesday. Yeah. And since there's so many of us in the class of 16, most of us, he's like, most of you are going to be doing great, so I'm just going to give you something to focus on and do it. And so we began to do a sweep and oh yeah, so this was how it was set up. So we were all in a circle in alphabetical order based on our last first name. So I was very last for Zion. And then you begin with a sweep, take everybody in. Don't break up your quadrants because that's in your head. That's homework you've already done. Um, and then if things are falling us apart, pull yourself together. Take a break. Go over the top. Go big, right? The text can bear it. Make Richard choices if you're playing Richard, justifiable ones, right? Go big, but within the character you're working with. And go like you're going to do the whole thing and let George stop you. And he did after a few lines with everyone. Keep your feet grounded. Put desired movement into your words instead of your actions. And then suggestions will be made. Take them. So the first person went and did Richard III. And she needed to include George and Ollie in the sweep. This was just kind of things that were mentioned, not always stuff. Begin with a slate, say, my name is blank, I'm doing blank. My name is Zion, I'm doing Richard III. Bring energy. You can laser in, but you can't shrink. So I could say, now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the sun of York, right? That's shrinking. But you can go, now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the sun of York. You don't want to devoice it. You don't want to lose that energy. Um, Breathe between and jammed lines, like I just did there. Because if you don't, you'll lose your breath, and that's a preference thing for different actors and different people. Like Karen doesn't want us to breathe between and jammed lines. She wants to only breathe on a period or comma. Yeah. um even though even though this actor was feeling like they were yelling, they weren't. The audience doesn't feel it that way. Only did the first few lines. So the next person went, also did Richard III. And as audience members, we can express and stay involved. So we're like, now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the sun of York. Okay. We can have little interjections and be like, oh, oh. And that's fun. That keeps us more into it. And then find someone who responds and single them out. Like if someone laughs and Richard is like, why are you laughing? You can kind of hone in on them. Most important thing is to grab their attention, grab them by the proverbial collar, clock those responses. You don't always have to respond to it, but if someone is like, "Oh yeah," you can just be like, give them on a luck. The next person went and did Henry V, and watch your tension. It won't allow your breath to drop into your body. You can give multiple images to a single audience member, but don't feel like a pinball all the time. What was new? Always good questions to ask. What was new? What was interesting? What was different? Those are good questions we can ask ourselves, and we don't always need George to ask them to us. The changing is to help us know where we are. Let it ground you. Let that kind of change help you, not be an added stress. And who are you to tell this story, right? Own it. He got taken into the office and was strong and changing and direct and specific. He got lost for a second, but found his way. Then the next person, she did Henry VIII, and some notes are use your body to. Looks like it says, oh, focus. Use your body to focus on people more than gestures. So don't just like point at people all the time, but use your body and your voice to do that. Um, yeah, and she changed her accent a little bit, which was fun and charactery. Just kind of leaned into a character more. You have them in the palm of your hand, right? You need to own it and bring them back, right? Don't let them go. Then the next person went and also did Henry VIII. It was playful, it had great diction, direction towards the audience. And no, no, it's all fun and games until it's not, right? Henry VIII is all like tee hee hee, except for like this is serious. So know when the tone switches. It's kind of like a mullet, right? It's all business in the front, party in the back, except for switch. It's like a reverse mullet. It's all super fun until it's not. Then the next guy did Henry V, and just sweep once and go. Don't sweep over and over again. No need to delay, right? Grab them. If you feel the larynx coming up, just open it. He had great energy. Um, he's judgmental a bit, and he was just like, "Oh, I thought it was crap," you know. And he went into the office, and he got a great intention to play, and it really helped. He had more fun with it. It was more specific. Then the next person did Troilus and Cressida, And don't get under energized. You can laser in, right? That was a repeated note a lot, but don't lose the energy. Don't point at people. People don't like it. Um, Find the person first, anchor, then speak. So if I'm talking to the camera right there, um, I would say, but I, that I'm not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass. I that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, right? That kind of thing. And then intimacy is an illusion, right? Meaning that we don't need to be like, talk like quiet and do this to feel like we have an intimate moment with someone. You can have an intimate moment and be louder and clearer. And also know that while you're doing this to this person, you also need to be enticing the person behind you and the rest of the audience as well. Then the next person went and did Henry V, and it had some great bold choices, crystal clear, anchor and then speak, deliver. You can put more air into it, but don't get soft. Then the next person went and did Henry V as well. Keep those enjambed lines together, really hook them for understanding, right? Um, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, right? And now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, right? You got to connect those thoughts. Oh, landing with an audience member and then speaking also gives breath and breaks and improves the audience comprehension. Then the next person went and she did Richard III. Don't make an audience member York because then they become your enemy and you don't want the audience being your enemy, right? Um, for the first line, now is the winter of our discontent. Make glorious summer by this son of York. You can take your time with it. Don't need to rush it. It won't feel as slow to you, to the audience as it does to you. Then the next actor went, and she did Henry V, and she went into the office and came back energized and specific. Um, Cutting through the scene. I don't know what that means, but I wrote it. So cut through the scene, or don't. I don't know. Then the next person also did Henry V, sweep, and then slate. So do it in that order. Stay off your hips, right? Kind of spread your legs shoulder width apart. Unlock your knees, widen your stance if you need it. Have fun and be grounded. Next person went and did Troilus and Cressida. Bite into those consonant sounds. Don't take your feet off. Oh, don't take your feet on and off the gas when it comes to voicing. Like, um, grim-visaged war has smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. Right? That on and off. You can laser in, but you can't devoice. It needs a little air. Give it the moment to land and breathe. You can give it a beat if you switch. Oh, if you switch like your focus in the middle of a line, you can give it a beat. Like if there's a comma and it's not like a period. If you're doing that in the middle of a line, give it a beat. Um, Bask in the great work you've done. Luxuriate in it. I like that word, luxuriate. Then the next person went and did Pericles, and he kind of like logged into me, and I gave him something like, eh. And so it's a great use of the audience, right? And playing with the audience and allows you the time to breathe and enjoy it. Don't lock on a hip, and own the delicious stuff. And the next person, they also did Pericles, and it was such a specific and a fun character and living in the world. Play, play, play. It was friggin' fantastic. They're so talented. And then I went last, and keep the integrity of the verse. Don't ignore the audience. Make a judgment about it. Could start out light and then hopefully really drop it and come in on, but that might be what I'm gonna do. Just be like, oh, lottie dottie. Now's the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by now's the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by the son of York. And all those that um and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war had smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an like kind of bring it in and have that nice change. Just something to do. Then we finished it. We talked a little bit about it, and um, it's not the first line, but it's the first breath that establishes the tone for a scene. This is really apparent in film and television, and don't forget that first breath in character, but at the same time, don't be overindulgent. Now is the winter of our whatever, right? Share the experiences with the audience. You can hold after a thought, but have purpose behind it, right? It should be a cathartic experience, right? That's good, not only for the audience, but also for the actor. And that was Wednesday, the 19th of November. So that's great. Okay. Yeah. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll keep you updated. I'll get on top of these things, and it'll be wonderful. Okay, bye.